Good morning, all. Good morning, Miss Shelley.
Morning.
Shelley's just off camera a bit. Let me go point at her. Oh, there you go. And good morning, Miss Ella.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Tina. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you, Joe.
Good. Hi, everybody. Today's conversation is going to go around how Tina and her husband ended up taking a small plumbing business, growing it a very large one, and incorporating the next generation, and all the considerations that go along with that. So thank you all for joining us. Shelley, any announcements today?
Anybody coming to EPI? We're leaving Friday.
Yes. So
Marco Island.
So we'll be at Marco Island. We're leaving on Friday. Ella and Reese and Shelley and I will be hanging out by the pool with a bunch of friends at a couple of cabanas on Saturday. So if you're going, stop by and say hi.
That'll be fun.
And then Shelley and I teach Sunday afternoon together for 20 minutes. If you're going to be there, don't miss that presentation. It's how to attract, engage, and work with $20 to $200 million families. And it talks about, do you learn it, hire it, buy it, or partner it? And so that'll be a 20-minute presentation at Marco Island at Exit Planning Institute on Sunday. And then on Monday in the afternoon, I present with Julie Keys and a couple of others about collaboration. We are doing a case study on collaboration that went south. And then group discussions of the 800 people sitting in the audience are all going to break into groups of 5 or 6 for 10, 15 minutes and talk about how it could have been different out of an actual case study. So,
and then we just announced earlier this week a day and a half event that we're going to put on, speaking of partners, introducing some of the implementation partners that we work with. It's called Ready for Who. It's June 27th and 28th. So hopefully you received that invitation. If not, give us a holler. But we'll definitely be sending out more.
Strategic Mancini onboards between 15 and 20 mass affluent families, those that are between $1 and $10 million a month, as does Founders Group. So 15 to 20 of those a month. And we still do what I will call traditional estate planning. But for the 20 to 200, the 10 to 20 we call tweeners. You can go either way. For the $20 to $200 million family, we onboard somewhere between 3 and 4 a month, somewhere around 45 to 50 a year. And we've decided to put on programming, not all of our programming, still more than half our programming will be for the mass affluent, the 1 to 10. But Southern California Institute is going to specifically put on programming for the $20 to $200 million family that you're looking to attract or include in your practice. And we are going to have a couple events a year just for that. They're going to be called Ready for Who. The Ready for Who event is going to be June
27th to 28th.
June 27th and 28th. So it's going to be here in San Diego, June 27th to 28th. If you have some time or you're looking to add that to your practice or that's part of your practice, I highly recommend coming. We've chosen 14 of our best friends that are in that area, not people that want to be, but people actually are, to share their wisdom and also share how to collaborate. So I highly recommend going to that if that is part of your practice area or you'd like it to be part of your practice area. So with that, Tina, nice to see you.
Likewise, Joe.
How long have we been together now?
Ooh, quite a while.
Quite a while.
6, 7 years.
I was going to say maybe
6 or 7 years.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
And we originally met on our governance side. We, as you probably know, I personally spend about a third of my business life I spend in legal, financial, and tax technical, mostly for the $20 to $200 million range, and either supervising staff, meeting with clients, etc. I spend about a third of my business life in family relationships, either family and business or families amongst themselves or business amongst themselves, which is how we originally met. Mm-hmm. And I spent about a third of my business life teaching those two things. So that's how we met. And we also grew that into some part of business, not only what I would call estate, business, tax, family, that kind of stuff, also business advice, and then relational advice as you grow a business when you get your young ones coming up.
Yes.
And you're ahead of me. The best I've done so far, I've got 2 kids, 23 and 18. My 23-year-old has been Shelley's slave. And a scanning guy.
He usually uses the B word.
Yeah, he uses the B itch word.
Yeah.
Shelley's B it, where he's done everything from cleaning out trash cans to scanning to front desk to everything else. And he's in the last year of law school. And when he comes in, he still has to go through that training and work his way up. Your kids have been around the company. They even rode in trucks to kindergarten at some point, did they not?
They did, yes.
Sure. So, how did the business first start, and how did you and Bill start to get involved?
The business first started probably actually, let's see, 1979. Bill's father got in trouble with some real estate in San Diego. Bill was working for his uncle as a plumber in LA. And his father called Bill and said, you know, I need your help. So Bill came down. This is long story short here. And they established a business together. At first they were going to buy a business, but then they decided we can do this without buying a business. So they bought a truck. And Bill's father started knocking on real estate doors, and Bill started cleaning drains. And that's how I got started.
That is amazing. How long were they together building in San Diego before you entered the picture?
Well, I came to the US in 1983 and went to work for Bill in 1984. So they've probably been established probably 5 years. I think at that time, it was just 2 or 3 trucks. So, you know, I was his first secretary.
Okay.
I always say first.
He
first,
married up.
First and only.
First and only secretary for Bill. So you started out as a secretary. What business experience did you have before that?
Zero.
Zero.
No, I was brought up on a farm in northern England, so I know a lot about farming.
No, farming. And Bill said, will you be my secretary? And you thought to yourself, that's good, bad?
Well, I was cleaning hotel rooms at the time, so it was definitely something better to do, wasn't it?
A little bit about, and I know the audience is wondering, where is your lovely accent from? You just told us.
I'm from Britain.
Yes.
I'm from the lovely sunny England.
And you love keeping that.
I do.
It's a
I do.
distinction.
Bill always says that's what helped grow the company, because I would answer the telephone and people just loved to hear the British accent at the
Yes,
time.
that is Steve too.
Yep.
He wants to be called Stephen with a British accent, my partner.
You should record some of those Siri, responses.
Sure. So you grew up on a farm, no business experience. You ended up being a secretary for Bill, and there were 3 trucks. What causes the growth? Is it just a tiny bit over time? Is it a conscious decision?
You know, I think it's for us, it was a lot of little decisions we made that just worked out really well. I think one of the biggest decisions that helped us grow was probably, I don't know, 10 years later. Bill hired, or actually the house we were living in, his best friend next door, his uncle came to San Diego from Chicago, and he was part of a big marketing conglomerate in Chicago. So he started his own business. So he's looking for customers. So he came to Bill and said, you know, I'd like to help you, grow to the next level. And Bill's like, what? We're doing great now. He says, well, let me show you what I can do. And he did. He helped us create the jingle, a lot of those things. And we just blew up from then.
Do you happen to know what market share you carry in San Diego? 1 out of every how many homes?
That actually call us or know of us?
Well, know of you, I think that's a massive number.
It is. I would say, because we've been in business so long and that jingle is so catchy, even young children sing it today.
Yes.
We've been told. So market share that we have, oh gosh, that's a good question, Joe. Quite a lot. I think it's like 1 in 10 households would call us.
Yep. And so in almost all, and more than half, there's a couple of TV stations you hit on a regular basis. So if they watch those, that's it. And you guys have an immense budget when it comes for advertising, when it comes for radio and TV, et cetera. How'd you guys decide to spend that much on that budget? Because that would freak most people out.
I think we learned early on, it's kind of you can never stop marketing at the level you market, even when volume slows down. That's when you put the pressure on. And so we've never, and I think that might have been a Bill thing. I'm gonna have to give my husband credit.
Because he said spend
sometimes
money.
Sometimes that's hard for me, So.
And is there a bit of spend money to make money in that?
Yes, there is.
And Bill's education before it, did Bill have a business background, or he just through grit, true grit, get up there too?
True grit. So yeah,
which has been the way that that has happened over time. And a little bit more than 40 years now, right?
43.
And how long guys have been married?
We just had our 39th wedding anniversary.
That is incredibly cool. So you started to work before you started to date.
I started to work.
Now you started to work with Bill before you started to date, or just very
Yes,
close?
I did. Started to work for him first. Then we became friends, and
And then it grew from there.
yes.
You almost moved back to England at one point.
Oh, you want me to, oh.
No, I don't want the whole story, but you at one point thought about moving back to England and you made the choice to stay.
All right, well, I'll tell you a quick funny story. The reason, I had no papers when I came here,
Right.
and you didn't need them back then. So I had no social security number. I made it up. So I went to work with this number, transferred that number to Bill when I went to work for Bill. Well, over time, they didn't have computers back
Right,
then in the immigration department, but everything did catch up with me. And
right.
Bill started getting letters that, this name and this number don't match.
Ah,
And then he told me, I'm like, well, I think I might have to go home. And he, we were dancing one night and he just turned around and said, no, you're not going anywhere.
oh,
So-
how lovely. What a romantic part of the story. You're not going anywhere.
And we've made it there 39 years later.
It's been a piece of cake, right?
Oh my.
So you're involved in the business. As the business grew, you took leadership roles all the way through.
I did. It turned out with our personalities that I'm the hard one, good cop, bad cop. I'm
Sure.
the bad cop. And I'm a driver. I set a goal and I want to achieve that goal. My husband's a very kind and forgiving person.
Yes.
When you have employees, as I watched, they tended to take advantage of him. And
He's a guy's guy, right?
he is, and I didn't like that.
Now, how long did he stay in the field? What was the decision for him to get out of the field? Because he's a true plumber himself.
He is, because we needed strategic planning, and then we also needed somebody in the office that could answer all the technical calls for the technicians, talk them through issues that they were
Yes.
having out in the field. And Bill's knowledge is, very vast, of course, in that arena.
And I know the heartbeat of the organization tends to be that little pit where all the calls come into. So you get all this that generates the work, then there's this place where calls come in, and that's your conversion. Is that one of the most critical parts of the company?
Dispatch. It is. Yes, because you can spend all the marketing in the world, get all those leads in, but unless you dish them out to the technician that's going to do the most with it, it's, you're losing money.
So in dispatch, they need to know what calls coming in, what the situation is, which plumber is nearby or not with a truck, and which one will do best with that situation.
Yes.
So your dispatch people really have to know what your plumber's talents are.
Yes.
How hard is it to hire for the dispatch position?
It's quite difficult. And then, we'll be a few weeks into training with them. And then we suddenly realize, no, this isn't going to work.
So there's a personality issue. They have to have an innate personality that works in dispatch.
Yes.
Cool. And I think one of your favorite people ever in dispatch is your daughter.
Oh, she's an expert. Oh my goodness. She's the one that keeps the wheels turning for plumbing ops for sure.
And that is a role that you had when she was younger.
Yes.
So could I say that she's a bit of a mini me
She is, yeah.
and loves it, right?
She does. Yeah, she
Very,
does.
very
She's
driven.
very good at what she does.
Sure. How many children do you guys have?
We have 5.
5 children. How many are involved in the business?
3.
So how was it to choose 3 in and 3 or 2 out? Did they self-select? Or did you tap on the shoulder?
I think it was a little bit of they did it themselves. Although there was a tad bit of encouragement from Bill. Because my stepdaughter Crystal lives in Texas. Our eldest daughter Jamie is ops for plumbing. Haley is restoration, and then Jessie is CFO. And who am I missing? Tracy.
Thank you.
Tracy, she lives in New Zealand. But Tracy, she was the smart one. It's like she was valedictorian of UCLA Geological Department. So she wanted to go study volcanoes in New Zealand.
Wow.
And ended up meeting a Kiwi, and
That was that.
that was that. Yep.
As you thought about the girls entering the business, did they all enter at the same time, kind of in and out? Was it a thing you did when you lived in the household?
The kids grew up with the business. So, like to your point earlier, yes, the plumbers took them to school every morning. They were there in the office while everything was happening. So when they graduated college, I'd always wanted the kids to go off and find their own way. I wanted them to be independent. But as time went along, they were interested in coming to work for the business. And then Bill, their dad, being the kind dad that he is, wanted to offer them the opportunity.
Sure.
But when they came in, especially, Jamie being the first, it's like, they started from the ground up. Like your son is Shelley's, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
What a polite lady.
they started answering phones, dispatching, et cetera, so that all the employees, they would earn their respect.
Sure. And you had some key employees that were their bosses at some point, naturally.
We did.
And then at some point, the girls, there's a decision to let the girls take bigger roles, but you have these people that are the bosses. What was that like?
It was difficult because there hadn't been a plan in place for the girls to enter the business. Looking back now, that's one thing I would do differently. Like right now, we got all of our grandchildren. It's kind of like we will have a plan for them to enter the business should they choose to. So without this plan, job descriptions and everything, the one individual who was Jamie's boss, we ended up having to kind of manage her out.
Yes.
Because it wasn't working.
Because those people who watched the kids grow up and had their positions and weren't technically, they weren't from another company that had level experience. They grew with you.
Yes.
So they were really worried if they weren't there anymore, where would they go? And they had been receiving raises the whole time at a compensation level that they couldn't get on the outside marketplace.
Correct.
I don't think. But the girls started to really evolve and wanted to have bigger roles. And I think that those two people were encouraging of the girls, but encouraging to stay as underlings, not to become equals or over.
Yeah. The office dynamics just started not to work.
Did all three of the girls come up at one point and say, we'd like to take over? Or was it obvious you wanted to, or was one stronger and one weaker? Or
I think that has happened over the last couple of years, the takeover. It's partly, I think, because Bill and I really want to step back.
Yes.
And that's not an easy thing to do, especially when you're a driver.
Yes.
And
especially when there's such big numbers flowing through. And if there's a glitch and there's a negative, well,
But at some point, I have to let the girls fail, right? They're going to, instead of correcting the decisions, I have to just listen and let them go on their path.
So have you taken a step or a step back where you're kind of in the background, or do you usually have 1 foot in, 1 foot out?
I've actually taken a big step back.
Okay.
I do go into the office for financial meetings, and like if we've got any lawsuits coming up or something that I need to be knowledgeable.
So there's a dollar amount that Tina would be involved in or Bill would be involved in.
Yes, and risk factors, I think.
Okay.
Is a good way to put it.
And have all three girls taken to being in their roles easily, or have they struggled a bit?
Haley has struggled in her position. She was the one that went and got the contractor's license, the B license, to run that division. But it's turned out that her high level management skills is not her forte.
So she can do well at getting them excited and going. She can go out and chase business, but when there's an issue, that's not something she rushes up to.
Yeah, her strength is not managing people.
Now, oddly, your daughter that runs the other part of the company and you're like Navy SEALs, you run into fire.
Oh yeah, we're good at that.
And that's not her strength. And then your third daughter that's in the accounting side, how does she blend in with the two of them?
Well, she came to work for us and
She's the baby.
She's the baby, yes.
Yeah.
So
she came in last.
She did. And of course, they've got to start at the bottom. So she went into business development, absolutely hated it because she doesn't like, working with people.
Sure.
She's a numbers girl. So then she left for a couple of years. She went and traveled Europe. And then when she came back, she went and got a CPA license.
Yes.
And then she came back to the company and said, Mom and Dad, I'd like to work on the financial side. which was a saving grace for our business, actually.
I was going to say, they all bring radically different things to the business. The B license allowed another line of business that brought in that was similar to the ones you had to expand that profitability.
Mhm.
You've got one of your daughters who is a lot like you to step into that role, and she watched it for years, so she knows what's supposed to be done in that. And she's, if I may say so, just as tenacious.
Yeah.
She is, but I think she's smarter than I am.
Shouldn't our kids be smarter than us?
They should, absolutely.
And then this one piece that you guys didn't have as strong before was managing to your numbers as you do now.
Correct.
And she, when she entered in, didn't know what you wanted of that because she didn't see a role model in your company that was managing to that.
Hmm.
But she had lots of ideas, didn't she?
She did, yeah. And then we also, the girls wanted more tools. You have been a wonderful tool.
Thank you.
With strategic planning and setting goals and meeting KPIs. But the girls wanted more too. So they joined a best practices,
Yes.
to help with that too.
And then we also got an accounting type person, that Jeff Cates, who dives
Consulting, yeah.
into businesses and finds what's wrong with numbers, and he's a fractional CFO, et cetera, to start talking to her about what we would monitor and why. She had great ideas of what she wanted to do. She was just afraid everybody wouldn't want to know that information.
Yes.
Now, out of you and Bill seems to really operate from his gut, and he just knows.
He does.
So the numbers are a backup at best, fair?
He does, yes.
Did you enjoy starting to manage to the numbers, or was that frustrating?
No, I like it. I like managing to numbers. It holds people accountable.
And now you're to the point in managing numbers with that training and her doing it to where you could almost see stuff ahead of time, where Bill could have a gut, you could actually justify it with numbers or find something in numbers, say, we should go smell over here.
I know. No, exactly. And that's an ongoing challenge for Bill and I, because I'm saying, look at the numbers, and he's like, no, but this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm seeing, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then, how do you guys choose advisors over time? Because you guys grew massively, mostly out of sheer grit. You had some people that were helping or not. You even had a relative as an accountant.
We did.
And that helped you as you started to grow, but you probably, is it possible you grew past that?
Oh, we did.
His abilities?
Yes.
But you still kept him because you're very loyal people.
Right. But Jessie, now when she took over the CFO position, was analyzing everything, she realized, no, we need a different accountant.
And then she got so good at, with Jeff's help, we were able to, you had a lot of internal accounting people that had been very loyal to you for a long time that were still in their spots. And Jess kept on saying, but they're slowing me down. So at some point they retired, promoted out, et cetera.
Yes.
And Jess now has better help, and even some through India too, on some of the backing numbers, right?
Oh yeah. No, she's definitely making things more efficient and cost effective.
And I know you're getting your numbers, they're more true, and you're getting them far faster now.
We are.
What has it been like for you and Bill and the girls to start to have to sit around rather than by gut, but see the numbers and have to discuss what's really there?
It's exciting. There's also a comfort level, because Bill and I are stepping away, and our retirement is our business.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that it's going to stay in place and the wheels are going to keep turning. But with the girls at the helm, it will.
And you've made it a generational business. So at this point, would it be fair for me to say, through both for our efforts with you, the girls have taken over the business, even though you're still there and you come in for your meetings?
Yes, no, they absolutely have taken it over, yes.
And how have they done, the three of them together? Because of course they're siblings, so they love each other and they've all got kids and all the way down the path. But there's also, my talent's different. And if I was the numbers person, I would have to look at Shelley and say, I'm about to report a set of numbers that you're not going to enjoy this meeting. And so what has it been like for that?
It's been an interesting journey. Siblings, as we know, don't always get along, but in business, they have to find the middle ground. And I've always told them, transparency and communication are everything. And the three of you're this wall. You have to walk, talk, speak the same language in front of the employees. Employees can't come to one and, they get a different message.
Sure.
That's confusing. So,
so you're having to teach them parenting and business.
Well, occasionally business, occasionally. I just have to remind them. But I think when we first started working with you, Joe, that was the catalyst that got us to unite as a family business, to
Yes.
understand the dynamics and how it works and why.
Now, a minute ago, you mentioned something. You said, and there'll be a path for the grandchildren. So we're
Yeah, I
talking
heard
about
that too.
G4.
I was coming back. I was like, wait.
Well, and that's part of that original, meeting that we had with you many years ago. It's because we put that overarching, plan together for Bill Howe. And we looked at all your case studies from other businesses our size,
Right.
and they had that, there was a plan for grandchildren. Whether they choose it or not is their right. It's
Sure.
their choice, but there needs to be a plan, especially when you're as big as we are now. And I hope that we'll continue to grow.
Right. Are you going to be the type of business that because somebody has blood in them, they get paid the same, or do they get paid based on their talent and what they do?
Based on their talent and what they do, what
So-
they bring to the company.
So they have a right to come in, but then they earn their way up or down.
Exactly.
So somebody
Both
might,
ways up.
somebody might earn their way into being a plumber and never want to stop being a plumber.
Right.
Somebody might want to go to administration and be an assistant, and somebody may say, I've got my sights on grandma and mom's job because it was yours, then it was Jamie's. They might say, I want that position.
If they can, the opportunity is there for them to earn it.
Sure. So the advisors that got you to where you're at wouldn't get you to the next level. How hard was it to take on new advisors? Because it's like dating. You just meet each other. Everybody looks good on whatever app on the phone.
Right. No, I think, when you hire advisors, for me, it's I have to meet them. There has to be a personality that jives, and that I know will jive with my children. Because we all want to be understood and heard, and we all communicate differently.
Well, because if somebody's getting a golf cart next to your bill and they recognize your last name and they're in legal, financial, or tax, they're going to slowly work into the conversation. Oh, what do you do? And they'll say you'll ask them what they do. How often does that happen to you?
A lot.
A lot. And it's almost like pickup lines when you're in college or something.
Mhm.
So what kind of things have you lean into? Maybe I should talk to this person again. And what kind of things it's like, ick, I can't wait to get out of the golf cart.
I think it's if you find the person relatable.
Relatable,
Yeah.
very much so.
Mhm.
And relatable to you, personality wise first.
I would say.
And then what are you looking for them business wise? Similar size companies to you, similar experience, a similar background. What is it that strikes your
Oh.
fancy?
Always more than that. I always want them to be better.
Better than
Yeah.
I brought up.
Mhm.
Cool. So Shelley, I'm sure you've got a question or two. Are we good?
I guess, I know you mentioned briefly, you wish you would have had a better business succession plan in place for the girls. What else?
Early on, yeah.
Early on, yeah. What else do you wish you would have done differently?
Oh, way back when, because we entered the business without any knowledge of business or how they were to be run strategically. I think it would have helped us grow faster, and it would have been by ensuring that everybody had the position outlined, so we could hold them accountable.
Mhm.
It's like everything way back when we would go, okay, this is your position, these are your expectations, just go do it. But then we never checked in with them.
Mhm.
We never followed through. We never really had reviews as we should have.
It needed more structure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
Or earlier on, more structure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would have helped us. Yep.
We can do that part too. So are there any questions out there in the world? If I don't see a hand come up, that's perfectly fine too. Tina, thanks for taking the time this
No
morning.
chats?
No.
Okay.
I know that you have a lot going on. You said yes to us for this morning.
Yeah.
And it's always just a little bit, who are we going to talk to again and why? So I value that very much. Thank you all for spending the time with us today as well. And Ella and Shelley for making it always come together. I highly recommend that if you're going to Marco Island, find us on Sunday afternoon. Shelley and I are presenting, and find at the platform, there's a presentation on Monday with myself and Julie Keys and a couple of others for about an hour. But Shelley, my 20 minutes would be magical for you. If you are looking to work with 20 to $200 million families, I highly recommend the program June 27th, 28th here in San Diego. It'll be a day and a half of some of my favorite people that are in the space that do this work all the time. So with that, thank you all very much. Enjoy your morning.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.